Welcome to first grade, Unit 2, Structures, Functions, and Informational Processing. We're going to go ahead and talk through the highlights of this unit. So the first is that the first big idea is that offspring look like but not identical to their parents, and that offspring and parents both have behaviors that help them to survive. So babies cry and communicate needs and wants to their parents, and then the parents are obviously able to take care of those needs by providing food or other ways. So it just shows the connection between babies and parents. So this is an example of orangutans. They have similar structures, right? They both have eyes and noses, hair, but they're going to look different than the parent based on size and just overall development. So just making the connection that you can tell this is an orangutan baby, but it looks very different than the adult. So the standards are read text and use media to determine patterns of behavior of parents and offspring that help the offspring to survive. And then make observations to construct an evidence-based account that young plants and animals are alike, but not exactly like their parents. So the other big idea is that external parts help plants and animals to survive, grow, and meet their needs. So a cactus has things like spines to protect it. It also has ribs to help it keep from losing water in the desert. A tortoise, in the same way, has a shell to protect it. It's got claws to help it move. It's got a mouth and jaw to help it eat. So again, these are all external structures that allow the plants and animals and survive. We need to use the standard is use materials to design a solution to help to a human problem by mimicking how plants or animals use their external parts to help them grow, survive, and meet their needs. So we're going to be looking at those different parts throughout the unit, and then their big performance task at the end is going to be actually this design challenge. When we look at the Arkansas K-12 science standards, which are similar to the next generation science standards, there are a lot of disciplinary core ideas, so big ideas that are brought up in this concept. This unit, so that you can watch each of those different videos if you want to gain specific background knowledge on those. All those videos are by Paul Anderson from Bozeman Science, and he has a great job of just explaining the science in a simple but relatable format. And so that's a great opportunity for you and your PLC or yourself before you tackle the unit to really get some idea of the background knowledge. When we look at the essential questions, there are two. The first one is how do parents and their offspring similar and different, and how they help them survive. And then how do plants and animals use their external parts to help them meet their needs? And so those essential questions are the driving force for the unit. And at the end of the unit, we want students to have these enduring understandings. And those enduring understandings are really the big key ideas we want students to walk away with and be able to understand. When we look at the integration of ELA and math, there's a lot of the ELA is going to be on reading informational text about specific animals and then doing some short either shared research or writing projects to connect into those. There is not a lot of opportunity for math integration into this unit. There's a little bit with reasoning abstractly, but really this is more of an ELA heavy unit. These are just a few of the texts that students are going to be looking at throughout the unit. So Unbeatable Beaks and Beaks are both part of the Picture Perfect series. You have What If I Had Animal Teeth? There's some of the other ones in that series from a previous ELA unit. And then there's a couple National Geographic Young Explorer articles, Look-alike, Family Lessons, and Bringing Up Pups. And then finally a book called Hug Me, which is a connection to our cactus observation lessons. When you look at the formative assessment, there's a structures and functions graphic organizer where students are looking at a part and telling you what it does. There are several opportunities for within the lessons to look at some multiple choice questions or different ways to formatively assess your students. When you look at the performance assessments, there's a unit scoring guide that can help you to kind of determine what skills students need to have. There's also the right beak for the job, and in that one, it's part of the Picture Perfect lesson. Students are determining the correct beak based on the function of it. And then finally, the design challenge is the protect your box, and where students are designing a protection to a box based on a plant and animal part. The kit materials you got provided for you, there's eyedroppers, clothespins, and plastic forks, metal pie pans, and dry beans. Those are all for the Bird Beak Lab, and then there's a Hug Me. The Hug Me book is in the library as well. So some of the things you're going to need: mini marshmallows for the which beak is best, and then cacti plants if you want to do those observations. Those can be shared among teachers and available at home centers, Lowe's, Home Depot, things like that. When we look at the structure of the unit, there's several days that are ELA integrated, and then several hands-on activities in the green. And it's remember, this is just a guide. This is one way you could teach this unit, but you can modify and make changes as you need to fit the needs of your classroom. So the first big idea we went back to is that parents on offspring look like their parent but not identical. So back to the orangutans again today. But also, how do they teach them? So things like elephants teach their young how to use their trunks, or wolves teach their pups how to hunt. Those are things that the parents do to help teach their young. So there's articles and things like that for students to look at and read. There's also sorts for students to do, matching the chick to the chicken, the foal to the horse. So there's ways to look at similarities and differences between the young parent and there's also a presentation you can look at to find similarities and differences between offspring and adult plants. So there's a couple examples there. The other big idea is those external parts to help them grow, meet their needs. So again, tortoise and cactuses are great examples. So one of the things they're going to be doing is looking at bird beaks and how different birds have different beaks based on the food that they eat. There's also a few articles about different ways that animals stay cool or are able to do different things based on their structures. And then there's a lot of a week or so on cactuses, so looking at some cactus observations, whether it's a cactus pleat experiment or a read aloud, a little art project, or an article. There's a lot of opportunities to make connections there. Another resource you can tap into is Wildcrats on PBS. They have great short animal clips to talk about structures and functions of animals. And then finally, to end the unit, the students are going to be doing an engineering design challenge. So there's some resources in the unit to help support that. But the design challenges, students are looking at this box and trying to protect it using something that plants and animals have. So making a milk carton and having them protect that will be a really cool way for students to do that. Hope you guys enjoy this unit on structures and functions.